The great Yogi Berra said, "It ain't over till it's over." Well, the NBA Finals are over. The Celtics are the 2024 World Champs, but the series is not over. We talked about this Friday, and the Mavericks pulled it out. Never in doubt. Blowout win. In fact, Dallas has now outscored Boston in the 4 games overall. How crazy is that? They're down 1-3, and they have a plus point differential in the 4 games combined. We'll talk a bit more about that, but more importantly, I'm going to break down Game 5 for Monday night. Side total player props, let you know the best way to make some money here, free for you in just a moment. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here once again on WagerTalk TV for perhaps the final time. Look, Game 4 is a 50-50 toss-up. Not a surprise the Mavericks won. In fact, I had a best bet on WagerTalk.com for my clients on Dallas in Game 4, and I mentioned here in the video, when you run the back test, competitive home teams down 0-3 have been fighters, and also thought Boston maybe takes their foot off the gas. Will that be the case here in Game 5? Probably not. Boston now a 7-point home favorite. They should win and wrap it up. And I think the fact they're back at home and the fact they're off a blowout loss assures that. In fact, Ralph Michaels sent some stuff over to me this weekend. Right after the Game 4, he said, hey, look, here's the numbers for home teams in Game 5. They're up 3-1 but coming off a loss. That means they had a 3-0 lead but lost on the road in Game 4. Very interesting numbers from Stat Daddy, the human database, father of Jeff. The Pin, Ralph Michaels. Follow him, by the way, at CalSportsLV on Twitter. And if you go back the last 22 seasons, Game 5 home teams that lost Game 4 with a 3-0 lead, they're 20-6 straight up. Average win, about 5.5 points. Average line, 8 points. So they haven't been great against the spread, just 11-14 and 1 ATS, 12-14 to the under, by the way. But what's interesting is when you look at them at 7 points or more, they're even worse. In fact, Ralph points out they're just 7-12 against the spread as a home favorite of 7 or more. So historically speaking, it's not a slam dunk for the Celtics on the point spread, but there's a twist. I like playing quality Class A teams off a blowout loss, as you know. And NBA Finals, we've only had 6 times where a team has lost by 24 points or more since 2004. Guess what? Those teams are a perfect 6-0 against the spread. Now, only once have they been a favorite. They've actually lost a couple games. They're just 4-2 straight up because 5 to 6 times they were a dog. But what really jumps out to me, the one time in the last 20 years that we've had an NBA Finals team off a blowout loss of 24 or more that was a favorite was back in 2016. The Cavaliers were a 1.5-point favorite against the Warriors. They won by 30. So that does bode well for Boston. And once again, all NBA Finals teams off a 24-point or more blowout loss the last 20 years are 6-0 against the spread. Average margin of cover by 10.5 points against the number. Now, the over-unders are 4-2 in this situation, but the average over is by 7 points to the over. In fact, the 2 games that stayed under during this span barely stayed under. We saw an under of 6 and 2 points, but the overs went over by 4, 13, 15, and 19. So could we see the first over in this series? Perhaps. I do think it's somewhat correlated to the Celtics being in a better focused spot. And once again, the over-under so far is 4-0 to the under in this series, but the odds makers have drastically dropped it. Game 1 closed as high as 217. We're now seeing a 209.5. Now, I know all 4 games have, say, 206 or less. Games 1 and 4 were blowouts for one for Boston, one for Dallas, so we don't have a lot of clean handicaps there. But my pace of play, my rescore model has been 214, 217, 204, and 217 in the 4 games. So I do think we get some value now with the over 209.5. And once again, if history is any indicator, teams in the finals coming off a blowout loss do tend to go over and have higher scoring games. And that, of course, would help the Celtics cover and win by more than 7. So we'll see how this game plays out on Monday night. But once again, I do think Boston wins it at home as the 7-point favorite. A 20-6 straight-up situation. And normally teams that cover win the game cover. So we'll see how this one plays out. It's interesting to me also, the public wanted nothing to do with Dallas in Game 4. And even you here in the videos, you guys know that you read the comments. And by the way, I read all the comments. I reply back. Several hundred comments for the Game 4 video on Friday. And I bet over 90% were saying, it's over. Celtics, Mavs got nothing left. That was making me feel even better about my fade the public play on Dallas in Game 4. Now the public is maybe coming back to Dallas a little bit, as they often do after single game results. So I don't think the Celtics are nearly as public. Actually looks like Dallas might be a bit of a public dog here in Game 5. So we'll see what happens. But I do think the Celtics close this one out. And once again, it might be time finally to get on over 209. 209.5, lowest total so far this series. I do think we get some value now with the over. If that's the case, we're probably going to look to play some over props. Dallas is tricky. It's Doncic and Irvin and nobody else. I do think Kyrie could regress a little bit after back-to-back big games, but as you know, I'm never in a hurry to play superstars under their prop total. So let's look at some Boston players over instead. And I definitely think we start with the two MVP candidates, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. In fact, right now, Brown was 1-5. He was 5-1 when the series started. It was 1-5 after Game 3. Now he's about 2.5 to 1-2. Still about minus 250, minus 230 to be MVP. Tatum's about plus 2-1. So it's going to be one of those two guys. I do think Tatum could sneak in and steal it here. If he gets another double-double and Brown has an off game, Tatum could have some value in the MVP odds, but it's going to be either Brown or Tatum. Shop around. You could probably actually find a cross bet where you lay less with Brown and take back a bigger plus with Tatum and lock up a small profit that way, as it's going to be one of those two. I do like Brown and Tatum, both their point props over here for Game 5. I would be very surprised if at least one of them does not get up and over after subpar Game 4s, and I think you have a good chance of them both getting up and over. Brown was just 3 for 12 with 10 points in Game number 4. He's priced at 24.5. He had 30 and 21 and 22 in the other game, so he's a little pricey, but it would be over only for me with Jaylen Brown. And then, of course, Tatum has been under now in 3 of the 4 games. He had only 15 points, just 4 for 10 shooting. Both guys played limited minutes, of course, because of the blowout. Tatum's now at 18 or less in 3 of the 4 games. He's priced 26.5, so they're very high totals. I think that's also showing that the odds makers like Boston in the over, though, could be a little bit an indicator. But I look for Brown and Tatum, at least one of them, if not both, to go over their point totals. So those would be 2 Celtics I'd keep an eye on. As far as Porzingis, by the way, 29 guys played in Game 4. 15 Mavericks, 14 Celtics. The only guy that did not play was Porzingis. He is listed as available for Game number 5. I do think we might see him in there, but I would expect limited minutes. Could cut into Horford's minutes a bit. He only took 1 shot attempt in 23 minutes in Game number 4. Holiday, 10 points. I would look for Drew Holiday to have another breakout game. Of course, he was huge a couple games back in Game 2 with 26 points. He's priced at 13.5, which is a little bit higher than he was the other night at 12.5. He's had just 10-9, so after back-to-back unders, I like Drew Holiday over 13.5. He's only gotten there in one of these games, but if you go back to the Indiana series, he had 14 or more in all 4 games. So Drew Holiday over is also worth a look as far as the Celtic player props go. Hey, comment below. Let me know your thoughts here. What are you looking at? MVP bet, player props, side or total opinion? I read all the comments and I reply back. I really do appreciate the input, and I do think we have the smartest and sharpest sports betting viewers here on WagerTalk TV. If this is the final playoff game, and it very well might be with the Celtics being a 7-point favorite, thank you to all of you that watched this season. I did every playoff game every day here on WagerTalk TV. If there is a Game 6, it's on Thursday. I'll be back here with your breakdown for Game 6. If not, check out the daily baseball videos here. I do a ton of free pick baseball videos throughout the week. Yet another reason to click subscribe and hit the bell as well, so you get an instant alert when these playoff videos go up, and also my free baseball videos throughout the week. And don't forget, give the videos a thumbs up, a like if you're finding it useful. Helps keep everything free and plentiful here on WagerTalk TV. By the way, if you want my official best bet for Game number 5 on Monday night, also my daily baseball best bets, check me out right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And while you're there, check out the daily free play. I post a free baseball play every day. It's a game that's just a bit outside from making the cut. I'm very selective. I have maybe just 1 or 2 client best bets a day. So that free play was the last cut. It's still a strong play. I treat it as maybe a 1 to 2% opinion play. My official best bets are usually 4% plays. So once again, the free plays in baseball do have an edge, and they've done quite well over the years. And I put that out there for those that want to build their own bankroll, that are new to handicapping and want a little extra content. So check out the daily free play, but don't miss my official best bets for both baseball and basketball each and every day. And by the way, if you're thinking on getting on board right now, it's a great time to do so, because I'm bringing back promo code SM365, which gets you a full year for just $3 a day. That works out to about $1.50 per play. I always have people ask me, I have a small bankroll. I'm not a big player. Can I still make money? If you're only investing about $1 per play, yes, you can make money. It's not difficult. And that's why I do the annual All Sports Special. And this is a great time to do it. You get the last of the NBA Finals, which means you get all of next year's NBA season, regular season, postseason, all of next year's college basketball through March Madness. Get the last half of this baseball season, the first half of next year, and you get all of this year's NFL, all of this year's college football. So I know it's the middle of June, but this is a great time to lock up a 1-year annual pass, because you're getting all of college and pro basketball and football and another half of baseball this year and next. And you do it with a huge discount. It's an instant $800 discount off the normal 1-year rate. And that promo code, once again, is SM365. Select the 1-year all access, all sports, and use promo code SM365. It gets it down to $3 a day. That works out to about $1.50 a play. I average about 2 to 3 plays a day, so that's about $1 to $1.50 per play every day for the entire year, all sports. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And don't forget, strong Game 5 best bet for the NBA Finals is on my page right now, along with daily baseball best bets and daily free baseball plays as well. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Follow me on X, on Twitter at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L on X at Steve Merril. You can also find me on Instagram, on IG, along with Wager Talk. And stay tuned right here to Wager Talk TV for more great basketball and baseball previews coming up next.